You're watching the most shocking and informative LRJ TV news.
Who called yesterday and spoke to one of our secretaries, and she forwarded me information that you had some information that you wanted to share with us. I gave you a call, invited you down, and that's kind of how we ended up here. In the room is Investigator Jim Post. I'm and Jim Rick. And let me start. Today is the 20th of March, and it is 8:41 in the morning. And I guess you have something you want to tell us about George Zimmerman that he did to you? That's what I understood from yesterday? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get you to start at the beginning of what happened.
It started when I was 6. He's about almost 2 years older than I am, and my parents were moving from Louisiana to Orlando, and they sent us, me and my sister, up to while they were moving. That's my earliest memory of him just trying to do things. And
where were you at this time when you're remembering 6 years old?
We would watch movies in front of the TV, and we would all lay in front of the TV, and we would have pillows and blankets.
This was in...
Yes.
Okay.
And he would reach under the blankets and try to do things, and I would try to push him off, but he was bigger and stronger and older, and it was in front of everybody. And I don't know how I didn't say anything, but I just didn't know any better. And
was this under a blanket, though, that he was doing it?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they didn't know what was happening, the other people?
No.
Okay.
Another time...
What city was this in? How to spell that? I think that's correct. Spell it again? Was he living there at that time, too?
Yes. He was living there. We were just visiting while my parents were moving.
Okay. Whose house was this actually where you were at when this was happening?
His parents.
Sounds like. And can you be a little specific? We've both been at this a very long time, so you're not going to say anything that's going to shock us or offend us. It may be a little awkward for you, but I need you to try to be specific as to, what he did.
He would put his hands in under my pants, under my underwear, and basically just finger me, I guess it's...
I mean, if that's... Did he put his finger inside you?
Yes. And there were other times that he did things too, but he would always call them, before we left the room or left any place, he would say, we weren't doing anything, we were just laying down, or we were just playing hide and seek. He would always make sure that he told me that, and I didn't know. I was a kid, I didn't know any better, and at one time I told my sister, and I thought I was telling them, because they asked, what were you guys doing? And I said, I didn't know, and I said, we were laying down. And I thought that I was telling them, and they just ignored it. And I just went to sleep crying because I didn't know better. But there were times where, another time, he told me that he had to have surgery on his penis because had been pinching them, and that he couldn't pee, and he had to have surgery, so he made me see it, and see the scars and see his penis, basically, and...
Where was that at? At the same house? And at what time was that age were you?
We were older. We were in our early teens. I want to say maybe 12. I was 12. He must have been almost 14.
When he did that, did he have you do anything to his penis, or did he just show you?
Just rub it.
Just rub it? And did anything happen as you were rubbing his penis?
Mm-hmm. I came in the room. She came in the room.
Did she see this?
She was busy. She was older. I mean, they didn't pay attention to a lot of the things that happened. There were other times. These are just the times that I remember.
Sure. And as you're remembering, if we can put it kind of in a time sequence, I mean, we've got the first one. It started at age 6 under the blanket where he put his finger in you. Do you remember what the next incident?
Oh gosh, behind the curtains in my living room.
How old were you then, as you remember?
I just remember she must have been at least 5 or 6. She was older, so I was at least 7 or 8.
Okay.
How long were you before you moved?
This is just different times that we visited.
Okay, so this is over several
Every
occasions.
time that we would go up there, I could just look at him, and he would give me a certain look, and I would know if it was going to happen when we got together for family gatherings. Because he just got this look in his eye like he was going to.
So did you go up to visit often? How many times a year would you say?
At least once a year. We would take trips together. There were times where, I mean, it's not just me that he did these things to, but I know that she would never come forward.
You said? What is her name?
I can't give her. She said she would deny it either way.
Have you discussed it with her? I mean,
A few years back, and she told us flat out, I'm not saying it. I'll deny it. If anybody ever brings it up, I'm telling them I didn't. It never happened. But...
And you started to say behind the curtains. What happened behind the curtains?
He would, just a lot of kissing and groping and...
Can you describe groping a little bit?
He would put
What
his
that
hands
means?
under my shirt and just rub and grab my chest and put his hands down my pants again and just more of the same stuff, doing his fingers.
Okay. That was on another annual visit when you went up there, and that was when you were around 7 or 8, best you recall. What do you recall next?
I was probably 13 or 14, and I had a boyfriend at the time. And
Where were you at when this happened? Okay, this same house?
and he was just laying behind me, pressing himself, all up against me and doing the same thing, just putting his hands all over me and saying things about the guy that I liked, and he ended up being my boyfriend, but he was saying things like, why do you like him? Why can't you like me? And, you know, why is he so much better than me, and
Okay.
just things like that.
And what physically was he doing to you at this time while he was, how were you laying?
I was laying on my side, away from him.
Okay.
He was laying behind me.
Okay.
And he had bunk beds at the time. We were on the top bunk, so if anyone walked in the room, they couldn't see. But I was laying away, he was laying behind me, and he was just rubbing my chest and doing the same things.
The
And
same thing,
kissing
meaning,
the back of my neck, and
did he touch you down below?
that time he didn't actually go into my pants, no.
Okay. Did he touch you above your pants, panties?
Yes,
What were you wearing? Pants or panties or?
I think just shorts and a t-shirt, jean shorts,
Okay. And what was he doing up top?
just rubbing my chest, usual.
Okay.
Um,
And that was at 13 or 14, huh?
But by the time that he moved down here, I was old enough, and I knew that stuff wasn't normal. And I always felt like it wasn't, but I had had enough. And I was scared of what else was going to happen. And when he moved down here, and he had his bedroom all set up, he told me that, you know, people were coming by and were going to see the house, and I had never seen the house. I bought the house in Lake Mary, and they were still up north just finishing out working and going to sell their house and going through all of that process. But I guess they got a good deal here, so they went ahead and bought the house.
Mm-hmm.
When George graduated high school, he moved down here.
Okay, how old were you at this time?
I was 16.
You were 16, okay.
And Georgie had moved down here. He had graduated high school already, so he was down here.
By himself, living in the house?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
And he told me that he was going to have, you know, come by and just see the house. So I agreed. I said, okay, you know, and in all the times that I ever saw him, I'm one of those people, I want to believe that everyone is good and that people will change and that he would. I wanted it to just stop. I didn't want to ever have to tell anyone, because I didn't want to be broken up. I didn't want to be sad, and Georgie always made himself look so good. He just sucked up to my dad, and he was like the son he never had. And he always was just, you know, very charming and personable with everybody in the family, and just always would laugh and entertain everybody. But he was different behind closed doors with me.
Okay.
And so I went over there to their house to
How
see them.
did you get there?
I drove. And when I got there, no one was there. And I was already scared. But I wanted to run, but I didn't. I didn't know what to do. I wanted it to stop, but I didn't know how to make it stop. And he told me to lay down on the bed, and I did. And he said that he was going to give me a massage. So he sat on my back, and he started rubbing my back. And then he started rubbing my chest. And when he leaned down to start kissing the side of my face, I felt that he had an erection. And I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just got up and I ran out of the house, and I got in my car. He only chased me to the front door, but I got out of the house. He didn't chase me out of the house at all. And I just got in the car and I left, and I didn't tell anyone. I was just scared.
Sure.
And with him, he was a different person to me. He was very intimidating, and the fact that he made everyone love him, and he made everyone laugh and be so happy around him. I knew that if I said anything, he would just deny.
During this incident in the house in Lake Mary, were both of you clothed? So when you felt an erection on him, that was through his pants?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did he say anything more of what he was going to do to you other than give you a massage? That's all he said? Okay. Do you know the address of this house in Lake Mary?
It's the one that they all have.
That they're living in right now?
No, we're living there, but it's all over the media, the one in Lake Mary.
Yeah, we have it.
Okay.
We have the address.
I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
We were talking about the same one. Was there any other incidents after that?
No, I didn't go around him, and I couldn't take it. I didn't want to be around him anymore, and we had get-togethers, and everyone always kept wondering why I was acting weird. And there was one time where he had a little party at that house, and Mike was there, everybody was there, and I just felt like he was going to try again, and this time, if he did, I would fight him. And I was scared of that, because I knew he was bigger, and I would probably lose. So I just got really scared, and I left. And I just told everyone that I wasn't feeling good, and my sister found out. She could just tell. She said she could just tell something was wrong, and I left, and we went, and she called me, and she's like, what's wrong? And I said, I can't talk about it, and
Who was that?
My sister.
Your sister.
She came and she met me in the parking lot, and she said I was just bawling hysterical, and I was just so afraid.
When was this? How old were you then?
Probably about 19. And
now you were kind of emotional because you
come in all shapes and
knew in your...
but I didn't tell my family. And those people would probably remember more than I would. I don't remember. I tried so hard to forget it all and to make it go away that I even forgot the good stuff in my life. There's things that my family talks about that sound awesome, but I don't remember them. It sounds like they're talking about somebody else. I don't.
Just so I'm clear, the person you're talking about that did this in Lake Mary, what's his name?
George Zimmerman.
Okay. And what's his relationship to you? Is there anything else that you can think of that we haven't discussed that's important that you wanted to share with me today about this?
Does it count if he admitted it?
Did he admit it to you? Is that what you're saying, or?
Oh, well, yeah, my parents were there. My parents found out, and they confronted him and his parents about what had happened, and they wanted to get together and talk about it, because I think that they just didn't believe it, you know, that he is that way. He makes himself look so good that they were in shock. They had no idea, and I never told them the depths of it. I told them, I don't want to talk about it, just forget it. So
when did this happen?
2005.
2005. Tell me a little bit, go into a little bit more detail about that. You said your parents found out and confronted them?
My sister told them after I told her that night, and she said that she told them she had to tell my dad, and she said she didn't know what else to do, and I was so afraid, and I've always been afraid of him.
What's your sister's name?
Her last name, her new married last name.
How old were you in 05?
Let's see. 20? Yeah, it's 20.
What happened when your sister told... What part did you tell your sister first?
I just told her that things happened. That was it. I never told her anything.
Not any specifics?
Nothing in detail.
Okay, and I'm assuming you don't necessarily know what your sister told your parents, or were you there when your
I
sister
was
told your
there.
parents?
She
Okay.
called my dad and she told him it's freaking out. She's very scared. She says things happen with George and...
Okay, so then what happens next in the sequence of that?
We went to a restaurant. It was the Uno in Lake Marion at the time.
Okay. We
Me, my parents, my mom and my dad.
Okay.
And they told him, we need to talk about this.
They told
George.
George, okay.
And instead of talking about it, all he did was come in the room, or come in the restaurant. He sat down on the end of the booth and said, "I'm sorry," and just got up and walked out.
Were you there when they said to him, we need to talk about this? That was your parents who called him and said, we need to talk about it? Okay.
And I mean, my parents, their jaws dropped. My dad wanted to go get him, but my mom isn't, she's seen cases like this get dropped all the time, because all it's he said, she said, and all he has to do is deny it. So she said, it's not worth it. It's not. You'll be in jail and he'll be free and nothing will happen. So we just
let it go at that. Do you know if his parents were ever brought into it, though? I mean, did your
They
parents?
knew.
They knew? What makes you think that?
My parents told them.
Mm-hmm.
My dad told. But they never said anything to me.
Okay.
They never once addressed it, but everybody knew. I mean, ever since then, any get-together we have, Georgie's never there. He's never invited. They always will try to appease me before him. I just felt like that was so cheap. Instead of saying that they were sorry or talking to me about it, they just brushed it under the rug.
Okay.
Pretended it never happened. But I don't know if they ever knew the details. My parents didn't.
Right.
His parents, I don't know what he told them. I don't know. They never knew. I never told anyone the details of what happened because I just couldn't. I couldn't talk about it.
Sure.
But
So basically your parents just knew through your sister that something happened.
I told them also after the fact, after they
After
asked
the
me
sister.
to, and they
And how did you describe what happened?
I was a pain in the butt as a child, and I told them I don't want to talk about it. I told them things happened, yeah, but I
Didn't
just
go
want to
into
forget
any
about
specifics.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
The only people that would or could know for sure is, you know, anytime that I got intimate with a guy, I would have to kind of give them a heads up that there are some things that I'm just not comfortable with. And then I get scared sometimes because I have a flashback.
Mm-hmm. Of what George did to you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you can think of?
Not right now.
Not right now. Okay.
I don't want my memory to come back.
Okay. Well, for the record, let me get you to give me your name, birthday, address, phone, just so we document it here.
What else?
That's enough. That's
Okay.
good.
Anything you can think of? Was there anything else, any other subject you wanted to speak with us about?
Okay.
No.
Why have you decided to come forward now? Not that that's wrong. I mean, I don't want you to think that at all. I think that's good. But what has led you to come forward to us now?
This is the first time in my life that I'm not afraid of him. I know that nothing can get to me. He can't get to me. I mean, if I saw him on the street, or if I saw him anywhere, it would just make me break down in tears. But now, with everything going on, I know he's not going to be out in public. I can't, you know, I won't go to Target and see him anymore. I'm not afraid of him now.
Okay. Did he ever penetrate you in any way with anything besides his finger?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any oral type of
No.
sexual acts or anything? Okay. And again, the one act that you're recalling that happened in Florida happened at the Lake Mary house, and that was
Yes.
the massage incident. Okay. Can I get you to raise your right hand? Do you swear from the statements you just given during this taped interview is the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. I can't think of anything else, so I'm going to have them turn the recorder off, okay?
Okay.
Okay.